10,000 years. That's how long humanity had been gone. Not extinct. Not hiding. Just, elsewhere. And when we came back, the galaxy had moved on without us. New empires had risen. Old legends had been forgotten. Our abandoned worlds had been claimed, our cities picked clean, our very existence reduced to myth and whispered warnings. But here's the thing about humanity, we don't stay gone. And the galaxy? The galaxy was not ready for our return. Title card, Humanity Returned. Today, we're diving into one of the most epic sci-fi scenarios ever conceived. What happens when humanity disappears for 10 millennia, and then comes back to find the galaxy completely changed? Stick around, because this story is wild. Act 1, The Disappearance, 1 to 3:30. Let's set the scene. 10,000 years ago, humanity stood at the height of galactic civilization. We weren't the oldest species, not by a long shot. We weren't the strongest, or the most technologically advanced. But we had something else, adaptability, curiosity, and a dangerous tendency to never accept impossible as an answer. We had spread across hundreds of systems. We'd made first contact with dozens of alien species. Some became allies. Some became rivals. And some learned to fear us. Because humanity had a reputation. We didn't play by the rules. When faced with extinction-level threats, we didn't retreat, we innovated. We weaponized physics in ways that made the elder races uncomfortable. We turned our own biology into something modular, upgradable. We looked at the fundamental laws of reality and asked, but what if we didn't? And then, one day, we were just gone. Not all at once. It happened over the course of a single generation. Human colonies went silent. Ships stopped arriving. Distress signals went unanswered. Within 50 years, every human settlement, every station, every vessel, abandoned. The galaxy sent expeditions to investigate. What they found were ghost towns. Meals left half. Eventually, they stopped asking. After 1,000 years, humanity became history. After 5,000, we became legend. After 10,000 years, we became a ghost story the old species told to keep the young ones in line. Don't wake the humans. They're the ones who cracked stars open for fuel. They're the ones who made AI that made AI that made nightmares. Be grateful they're gone. Act 2, The Galaxy Moves On, 3:30 to 6 o'clock. But the galaxy didn't stop. It evolved. The Concordat rose to power, a federation of the elder species who'd learned to cooperate after humanity's disappearance. They established laws. Created trade routes. Enforced peace through diplomatic pressure and, when necessary, overwhelming military force. Human space was carved up and redistributed. Earth itself became a nature preserve, protected by treaty as a monument to a lost civilization. The Sol system was declared off-limits, a graveyard, a memorial, a reminder of what hubris could cost. New species rose to prominence. The VRWNN became the premier engineers, building megastructures that dwarfed anything humanity had conceived. The Kethal dominated biosciences, reshaping entire ecosystems. The Zephyri controlled the most advanced AI networks in known space. And everywhere, in museums and archives, humanity was remembered as a cautionary tale. The species that reached too far, too fast. That played with forces beyond their control. That paid the ultimate price for their arrogance. The galaxy had moved on. And then, 10,000 years to the day after the last human signal went dark, every deep space monitoring station in the galaxy detected the same thing. A pulse. Originating from Sol. From Earth. At first, the Concordat thought it was a malfunction. Some ancient automated system finally dying after millennia. They sent a science vessel to investigate, the first ship to enter the Sol system in 8,000 years. It never reported back. They sent a military frigate. Then a cruiser. Then an. Act 3, The Return, 6 to 9 o'clock. What emerged from Sol wasn't the humanity the galaxy remembered. The ships came first. Vessels that bent space around them like tissue paper, that phased between dimensions, that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Their hulls were inscribed with mathematics that hurt to look at, equations that described realities the rest of the galaxy hadn't even theorized. And when the fleet reached the edge of the exclusion zone around Sol, they stopped. Waited. As if daring the galaxy to respond. The Concordat mobilized the largest fleet in galactic history. Hundreds of thousands of ships representing every member species. They surrounded the human fleet, which numbered maybe 300 vessels, and issued an ultimatum. Explain yourselves or be destroyed. The response was a single human envoy, transmitted to every ship, every station, every world simultaneously. She appeared human, mostly. But her eyes held depths that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. When she spoke, the words seemed to echo from places beyond normal physics. Hello. We apologize for the confusion. 10,000 years ago, humanity discovered something. A signal, coming from outside our universe. An invitation. We accepted. We've spent the last 10 millennia exploring realities you can't imagine. Learning from civilizations that make the Concordat look like children playing with blocks. We've evolved. We've transcended. We've become something new. But we never forgot where we came from. Earth. Soul. Home. We came back to check on you. To see how you've grown. And to offer you a choice. The fleet commanders demanded clarification. What choice? What did humanity want? The envoy smiled, a gesture that was somehow both comforting and deeply unsettling. The same choice we were given. The universe is so much bigger than this galaxy. There are places where physics works differently. Dimensions where consciousness is the fundamental force. Entire planes of existence built on concepts you don't have words for. We're going back out there. But first, we wanted to offer you the chance to come with us. Any species. Any individual. All are welcome. Or you can stay here. Continue building your civilization. We'll leave behind everything you need to reach us when you're ready. Could be 100 years. Could be 1,000,000. Doesn't matter to us anymore. Time works differently out there. The Concordat was in chaos. Half the member species wanted to attack. A quarter wanted to accept immediately. The rest just wanted answers. And humanity, to their credit, gave them. Act 4, The Revelation, 9 to 12 o'clock. Over the next weeks, humanity shared everything. The signal they detected came from a structure older than the universe itself, a construct existing in the spaces between realities, built by entities that made the concept of civilization seem quaint. These beings, humanity called them the architects, didn't conquer or colonize. They invited. They offered transcendence to species that reached a certain threshold of development. Not technological development, consciousness development. Humanity had barely qualified. We were young, aggressive, chaotic. But we had one thing the architects valued: we asked questions no one else asked. We looked at the impossible and saw possibility. So they invited us. And we accepted. What followed was 10,000 years of transformation. Humanity learned to move beyond physical form. We explored pocket dimensions and parallel timelines. We met species from other universes, some made of energy, some of pure thought, some existing as mathematical concepts. We became post-physical. Post-biological. Post-everything the galaxy would recognize. But we kept our memories. Our culture. Our fundamental humanity. And we came back because the architects had a rule: you don't forget where you came from. You don't abandon your home. You offer to share what you've learned. The galaxy reeled. Some species saw this as the greatest opportunity in history. Others saw it as a trap, a manipulation. Still others saw it as proof that humanity had always been dangerous, and now they were infinitely more so. But here's what happened next that nobody expected. Humanity didn't push. Didn't demand. Didn't even try to convince anyone. We just opened the door. Literally. Right there in Seoul, humanity's fleet constructed a gateway. A permanent connection to the greater multiverse. And then they made it public. Anyone could approach. Anyone could look through. Anyone could choose to step through or walk away. And then humanity did something that shocked the entire galaxy. Most of them left. Not to conquer. Not to control. Just to continue their own journey. They left behind volunteers, humans who chose to stay and help anyone who wanted to learn, to understand, to eventually make the journey themselves. The envoy's final message was simple. We're not here to rule you. We're not here to save you. We're here because 10,000 years ago, we were where you are now. Afraid of the unknown. Clinging to what we knew. And someone offered us a chance to see beyond it. Now we're offering you the same choice. Take it or don't. Either way, we're here if you need us. Just like we promised. We'll be back. And we are. Act 5, The Galaxy Transformed, 12 to 1430. The years following humanity's return changed everything. At first, only a few took the offer. Adventurous individuals. Scientists. Philosophers. Those with nothing to lose. They stepped through the gateway and disappeared into the unknown. Some came back. Changed, transformed, but still themselves. They spoke of wonders that broke the mind to contemplate. Civilizations billions of years old. Realms where thoughts became reality. Universities the size of galaxies where entities traded concepts like currency. Others never returned. But messages came through the gateway. Letters to loved ones. Research papers describing impossible physics. Art that existed in more dimensions than the canvas could hold. The Concordat fractured. Some species joined wholeheartedly. The Zephyri, with their advanced AI networks, were among the first, their artificial minds adapting to multidimensional consciousness faster than biological ones. The VRWNN sent entire engineering corps, returning with designs for structures that redefined megastructure engineering. Other species refused. The Kethal, masters of biological science, saw transcendence as abandoning the perfection of physical form. They closed their borders, determined to prove that greatness could be achieved without leaving reality behind. And some species did something humanity hadn't expected, they asked us to stay. Not to rule. Not to guide. But to remain as we had been, as explorers, innovators, the species that asked uncomfortable questions and found impossible answers. So some humans did. They re-established colonies on the old worlds. But they didn't rebuild what had been, they built something new. Cities that existed partially in other dimensions. Research stations studying the intersection of realities. Academies where any species could learn what humanity had learned. Earth remained a preserve, but now it was also a pilgrimage site. Millions came from across the galaxy to see where humanity began. To walk the same ground. To look up at the same stars and wonder what lay beyond. And in orbit around Seoul, the gateway remained open. Always. A standing invitation to anyone brave enough to step through.